have to say, we spent a couple of hours with the survivors on Monday in a closed-door meeting, and to hear the chilling, harrowing stories that these women survived. I mean, we're talking about children who were as young as 12, 13, 14 years old, who not only were raped, but they were drawn into a sex trafficking ring in which they were farmed out to Jeffrey Epstein's associates. I think when you hear these stories, when you understand the criminal enterprise that was involved in this case, that there are potentially thousands of survivors out there, that there was international sex trafficking, there were financial institutions, the FBI, the CIA involved in this case, and a miscarriage of justice. This is not just about a few isolated events. This is about a vast network of criminal enterprise that implicates not only Epstein, but his friends, his associates. And we have to understand that Donald Trump was Epstein's one of his closest friends for over a decade. And so we have serious questions about what Donald Trump is covering up, what is in those files. But if they won't release those files, we will subpoena every person involved, the bank records, and we have to believe these survivors. Their stories are bone-chilling. And as they told us, follow the money because it's in the receipts.
Well, NBC News confirms that on Monday, some Oversight Committee staffers will view unredacted documents from the Epstein estate in New York, which may include that birthday book, which reportedly includes a somewhat explicit letter from President Trump. Will you be part of that group? When might you see some of these unredacted documents? And what does the committee hope to find in them?
Yeah, so House Democrats forced a vote in the Oversight Committee to subpoena documents both from the administration and the Epstein estate. And so the document production that will happen on Monday is from the estate itself. Now, redactions are allowed to protect survivors and minors. And so the counsel for the committee will travel to New York City to ensure that that is the only thing redacted in those files, because it's important to understand that the Epstein estate is still managed by two of the individuals who were involved in Epstein's affairs for his entire career as many of these activities were going on. Those documents will be transmitted to us electronically as members of the committee, and we'll be reviewing those on Monday.
You know, Speaker Mike Johnson called the whole discharge petition, quote, superfluous after Republicans approved a measure encouraging the Oversight Committee to continue its investigation, and said the discharge doesn't adequately protect victims. So what's your response to Johnson? Are victims not being protected?
Well, the victims or survivors themselves stood on the steps of Capitol Hill the same day and said, we want these records released. And the discharge petition has very clear language in it that will protect survivors and anyone who needs their identity protected for safety reasons. So it's laughable. But it's very clear that the Speaker of the House is Donald Trump's guy on the inside. He is engaging in a cover-up to protect the president and whatever it is that the president does not want the public to see in those files.
Do you ultimately expect there will be more names released this week?
Let me just put it this way. The names are out there. All you have to do is Google Jeffrey Epstein and his enterprise and the people who were associated with him. I think we know some of those names, including some of the most powerful people at the top. What we are trying to make sure the American people have access to is the criminal investigations that went on and the sweetheart deals that the Justice Department gave to Epstein and his associates, and justice for the survivors by prosecuting individuals who were never held accountable. And so it's not just about releasing names into the court of public opinion. This is about pursuing criminal activities that are global in scope and that implicate all of the people around Jeffrey Epstein, including his closest associates.
Okay. Congresswoman.